Well, in today's Health Alert, the FDA announced that fast food wrappers containing PFAS are no longer being sold in the U.S. Phasing out these substances, known as forever chemicals, will eliminate a key source of dietary exposure for Americans. PFAS has been linked to various health effects. So here to explain what these are, Chief Health Editor Dr. Partha Nandi. And Doc, why would you ever wrap food in harmful chemicals?
I know, it's crazy, right? And this is just for Brian's request. PFA stands for per and polyfluoroalkyl substances. There you go.
I remember that, yeah.
They're a group of chemicals used on paper and paperboard packaging. Their popularity comes from being grease-proofing substances when applied to products. They prevent grease, water, and other fluids from leaking and making a huge mess. And that's why the chemicals were commonly used on stuff like takeout paperboard containers, right? Like pizza boxes, fast food wrappers, and microwave popcorn bags. Brian loves those popcorn bags. And while PFAS seems like a good solution, right, for preventing packaging problems, they also posed potential health risks to human beings. And that's because PFAS can also be toxic. Many have been found in the blood of people and animals worldwide. And this is a huge concern. Why? Because they can stick to proteins that carry hormones, antibodies, and cholesterol. Research indicates that PFAS may affect reproduction, thyroid function, the immune system, and injure the liver. Serious stuff. And some have been linked to diabetes, obesity, lower birth weights, and some cancer. So this is, even though we're joking a little bit about it, but it's very serious stuff.
So even though the FDA says no more, I mean, it takes a while to cycle through this and get them phased out.
That's an important point, right? It takes, the FDA mentioned, right, it may take up to 18 months before the current stock is phased out. That's a long time. But the good news is this, that many fast food companies have already stopped using PFAS-containing wrappers. That's because the FDA has convinced some food manufacturers to start phasing them out in 2020. And while it's a positive step, that these kind of forever chemicals won't be used in food packaging anymore, there's still a drawback. Even though the FDA study showed that food packaging was a significant source of dietary exposure to PFAS, people can still be exposed in other ways. And why is that? Because PFAS can be found in low levels in our environment, especially in our water. And also research suggests that these chemicals may build up in animal tissues, potentially ending up in our food, right? Like in meat, milk, and eggs. To reduce the exposure, check if your water is affected by looking at maps from Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA. And if yes, consider using water filters to help remove some of these chemicals, Glenda. So you can also cut back on meat and dairy, right? That's always a good idea just for your general health. However, I must say that it's not realistic to think you can avoid all PFAS exposure just because these chemicals are so widespread. But I'm glad that they're talking about this and people are aware. Most people never even heard of this stuff, and now you know. So you can take some steps to protect yourself and your family.
Wow, thanks a lot, Doc. Appreciate that update. All right.
Of course.
Of course, tune in this weekend to the Dr. Nandi Show. He's looking at the world of pharmaceuticals and why cost is keeping a lot of people from dire medication. That's this Sunday, March 3rd, 2:30 a.m.